Out at the farm on Saturday. Gonna do your videos today. We have the O'Briens tonight. There's Hunted. For those of you, I don't know if you can see him. I can see a little bit of him. There's the snow. There's Hunted out for a little jog this morning. Harry said he trained him on Thursday. Now, ideally, what we planned to do was school him Friday, but because of the severe weather, they canceled the qualifiers. So, in fact, canceled the schoolers also. We won't be able to school him on Monday, but I think Harry was fishing for another week. And he said, well, his class goes on Saturday. We'll train him next week. He was vague enough, I believe, so that if the horse, man, oh man, that filly looks good. There is a filly right there. She's got to skip by in front of you. That is Rito's Lady. That is the Huntsville filly. We had a tough time getting her gated. She's gated up nice now, and she has a really, really nice gait. I went with her last week, but it was the first day, so we have, in fact, if it is imperative that we take the flip-flops off the horses, we will. I had to take them off of her. I had to take them off of a couple of horses. With their gait, they just couldn't get it. Now, would they have got it in another 2 or 3 weeks? Maybe, possibly. I just figured it was time. It was time for, where'd he go? Must have missed him. It was time for them to come off, and man, Rito's Lady looks very, very good right now. This is the filly that we got in the trade / sale of Will to Win Hanover. I really like this filly, the way she goes. Now, obviously, I want to see more. She could probably go a mile and 250 right now, so puts her close to where everybody else is, but still a little ways behind. So we're working on a little catch up with her now. Some of the horses had today off, but I got to give it to the crew. I'm not jogging anything. It's minus 17 with a little bit of wind. It's easy minus 22, minus 20. Real feel, I guess is what they call it. Kenny, even James, everybody showed up today. I got here, there was 3 horses left to go with. This was a filly I wanted to go with. I get out of the car, I had my drink, and I went, whoa. Kenny, come here for a second. So Kenny went with Rito's Lady. Man, she looks good. Very impressed with the way she looks now. She's not going fast. He's not setting any. The track record's not in jeopardy, but pacing really, really nice. It's impressive. She's got a nice gait on her. So we had a little more going on this week. Obviously, a little upsetting. We couldn't even get Looks Like Money back in Monday. I had said to somebody, Johnny had messaged me. He said, "Oh, we get another week we have to miss." I said, "Well, in fairness to Looks Like Money, he did race 4 times in January, and the 1 week he missed was because we had Resolute Bay and White Tiger, and they only had the 1 class, and we couldn't enter 3 in it. So, the week off isn't going to hurt him this week for sure. He'll race next week. Obviously, keeping a close eye on this guy. Probably going to see him his first start. Now, I don't really call, even though it obviously literally is the start of their 4-year-old season, I would like to look at the start of our 4-year-old season with our horses as when they come back, when they're fresh, when they're starting to head towards the stakes, so to speak, for the horses that have them, and he has them. A lot of them. The graduate here at Mohawk in June, I think, is his first one, if I'm not mistaken. We're not going to focus on the what the hell's at stake they just put out. Locatelli's going to be in there. I think White Tiger will probably go in there. And because they're in there, we had to bring them back a little bit early. From their hiatus. But, I mean, when it came to Locatelli, he didn't have a ton of starts. White Tiger, I think it was just that stretch of hard track, soft track, hard track. He was getting on a line. He just needed a couple of weeks also, 2-3 weeks. I'm not concerned with it. And in regards to a horse like Resolute Bay, again, only getting 2-3 weeks and coming back. But at the same token, here's a horse that probably in the summer, when all those big stake races are going on, we're probably going to try and hide him a little bit and focus on the fall and winter of 2023 into 2024. That's the common trajectory. That's what we did with Locatelli. We missed most of the spring into the summer and then had him ready for late August. This year we're going to try and race him straight through until he might need another 2-3 weeks off. And then, as I said to Harry, the first stake race I see for, it might be beneficial to actually pull those up. The first stake race I see for Locatelli would be the Maple Leaf Trot in August. So this is the time of year when, obviously, as you guys can tell, I'm thinking about stake races, staking. I think I did a good job. I took in all the recommendations from the usual suspects that I send the staking reports out to. I know there's a little bit of an issue going on right now. I had mentioned it quite angrily over the last few weeks about the Ontario Sire Stakes Super Final going 5 days before the Breeders' Crown, and it was because Hoosier wanted to race 3 days of eliminations, like Super Week type thing. I don't blame them. It's a cool concept. Problem is that it really negates the ability to race Ontario breds in the Breeders' Crown this year. At least the 2-year-olds. I can't speak for all of them, but no, it would be all of them. The super final night is on Saturday. Now, Ontario has had the same super final night forever. This is as it was told to me, so I guess take it for what it's worth, third person. If there's a hole in my story, it certainly was because of the information I collected. Indiana, I understood what they want to do, and I know there's discussions to fix it. But quite frankly, how can you possibly call it Breeders' Crown Week when it's supposed to be the culmination, the crown jewel of any horse's season in North America, and horses that aren't able to race in it? Because quite frankly, and I said this to the Hamiltonian Society then, and I can tell you, anybody I talked to was sympathetic and understood the situation, and I know there's a lot of discussions going on behind closed doors, so I don't necessarily have any negative thoughts. I don't think anybody did this on purpose. I think it was an oversight. The fact that I brought it up and everybody was shocked about it obviously means that it was an oversight, but a fairly glaring oversight. To me, it would be like building a house and forgetting to put bathrooms in it. We can put them in, but how did you forget them to begin with? And that's kind of the situation that I think we're in here with this super final Breeders' Crown debacle. I'm trying not to be negative because there's not really, sure, there's somebody to blame, but I don't think anybody did it on purpose. I know I had a couple of conversations with John Campbell the other day from the Hamiltonian Society, and I know that he was very understanding, and he was really working hard to get it done. So I hope between Ontario, Indiana, the Hamiltonian Society, the Ontario Sire Stakes, somebody or a group of people can come to a resolution. As I said to John, 6 days, you're like, all right, we race in the super final, rest the horse up, and then ship down to Indiana. It's not ideal, but it's not a non-starter. 5 days is. I couldn't race a horse here in Ontario in the super final, and then 5 days later, if the Breeders' Crown was at Mohawk 15 minutes away, I still wouldn't do that. So that 24-hour window is massive. So if we can even get it moved to a 6-day, which still is not ideal, but if we can get that done, then that's amenable. Otherwise, we're not going to be paying Halley in the Clouds into the Breeders' Crown, or any of our any of our Ontario breds, for that matter, which is upsetting because it's a real problem. So anyway, I hope it comes to a proper resolution, because I know that people are working towards it, and I'm certain that it was not done intentionally. It just ended up that way with the, realistically, more times than not, I know the Meadowlands wanted to go Friday, Saturday, stagger them. It's a draw. Of course you want to get people out to your track. I don't blame people for doing that, but there is a schedule to adhere to, and they don't want to push the Breeders' Crown another week, and they can't push Ontario back a week because there's a gold for the 2-year-olds 7 days before the super final. So it's a bit of a pickle. But listen, they're aware of it, and I believe people are working on it diligently, and I hope it gets resolved amicably and professionally, because truthfully speaking, you can't have the Breeders' Crown and not have a jurisdiction not able to go, and that's the position they're in right now. So Haunted House looks good too. So this week we had a winner in looks like Money looked fantastic again. He looked like the best horse in the world, considering what we've been going through the last 3 weeks, and not the end of the week that I wanted. We have 2 outside posts with Procrastinator and Sintra. I spoke to Sylvain last night about Procrastinator briefly when I was there. If you guys remember, Sylvain was the one I kind of moved over and snuck through when I won with him. I said, that's the horse that I almost hit you with when I get through to win. I said, and quite frankly, if he's a little bit shallow, if that's him, then drive him accordingly, I guess. It's a little upsetting that given the blood work we saw for Procrastinator, the scope we saw, the week he had, the way he seemed, he should have been an easy winner the other night, and instead faltered badly. So we'll race him accordingly, I guess. And this applies. This saying that we use, this general saying, applies to a lot of things. He's going to have to play the hand that he's dealt also in regards to the way he maneuvers Procrastinator. And then when it comes to Sintra, again, outside post, he's down a class, but really it's the watered down version of the Open in the 28,000 class. And when you draw the 7-hole on a pretty cold night, and I'd said the same to Austin, I'm not telling you how to drive him, you drive him however you want, but don't rough him up. I know when I raced him, he shows that 3 wide to the quarter, but we were all kind of jammed in there. It wasn't, but even so, he was roughed up that night. So, just try and get him a slick steer if you can. Austin's been doing great things at Mohawk, and it's nice to see those young kids breaking in also, because although, for older drivers, it's frustrating to lose some drives, but at the same token, we do have an industry to protect also, and having young kids make their way to the major circuit, much like James or Dougie did before them, now to see, or Bob McClure, and now to see Austin Soaring even there. I saw Tyler Borth won a race the other night, so good for Tyler also. I knew his grandfather when he was racing, and man, I feel old right now. But Bill was a tremendous horseman. I actually bought or claimed a horse off him one time. Really nice man. So, as I generally do in my opening video, I wander down a number of paths and look at a lot of the stuff going on when it comes to what's going on right now. Very happy with the way things are going in comparison to the way they were just 2 weeks ago, and you guys see how fluid this game can be. We were running this high that just seemed to go forever. The horses were all just winning and crushing, and then all of a sudden the wheels got a little wobbly, and poof, we were completely out of gas, nowhere to go on the side of the road. The horses we were relying on, on the Saturday night to sit home, metaphorically speaking, with a popcorn and watch Procrastinator try and carry the flag for the stable is not ideal. But we do have our horses on the way back now, and we do have the new horse that arrived here today. JK Victory is here. I don't know if you'll see him race next week or the week after, but he is here. Haunted House is hopefully going to race next Saturday. I say hopefully because I'm not going to tell Harry, you must race this horse next weekend. If Harry feels that next weekend's too soon, or his comfort level would be better if he raced him the week after, then by all means, I'll stand behind Harry. He's done a lot for the stable, and if he feels next week isn't the week, then so be it. But I would hope the horse would race next Saturday also, as an owner, as a partner of yours, and as somebody who wants to see the stable do well, obviously, I would hope he'd race next Saturday. JK Victory will likely be the week after that. And then we have a number of horses getting very close, both here and in Ohio. I can go over some of those with you in this video also. So as we get into February, it's already February the 5th. It feels like Christmas was yesterday. February the 5th, I think it's the 5th. The O'Briens are tonight. We're going to go to the O'Briens, Amy and I, all my family's going to be there to cheer on James. I talk a lot about James, but don't talk enough about Curtis. Curtis is the equivalent of James in the editing video industry, and it's a little less glamorous because you don't see it and it's not as action-packed. But what Curtis does for us is just a glimpse of what Curtis can do in real life. He does basketball games, he does hockey games, all the editing and stuff that goes into what he does. I've seen how hard he works on stuff, and we always talk about how I want to instill a work ethic into my kids, and looking at the work ethic James has, I have, all my brothers, Lloyd, Bobby, Curtis, Mark, Evie, all of us have. It must come from the sire, I guess. But and my mother, just worked diligently my entire life, and so I guess hopefully that gets passed on to my kids without me showing them also, because it's important for me, for our family, and the job that James does, the job that Curtis does, as I said, just tremendous. Mark, I don't mean to leave anybody Also up tonight is obviously James is going to win Driver of the Year. Curtis hopefully will win an O'Brien for his work in the video department of the industry. Nelly hopefully will win Caretaker of the Year. Now Nelly and her mother work for Harry. Danielle, they work so hard, and just great people. And to see her nominated for an O'Brien is amazing. 3 people connected to the stable up for O'Brien Awards tonight. So it means we're definitely, 1, surrounded by very hardworking, smart people, and 2, had a pretty good year. So good luck to them tonight. As I said, looks like money raced good this week with a win on Monday. We had some horses race good throughout the week, but obviously looks like money was ahead of the curve, so to speak. Happy with the way HB Maestro raced in I'm just thinking off the top of my head, at the Meadows, trying to get our horses back on track at Dayton. I know Sailor was a little bit loose on the front end the other night. Hopefully they can get him reined in. He's going to race on Tuesday. He has been up for sale and continues to be up for sale. We're not giving horses away, though. This isn't, it isn't a yard sale. It's not a fire sale. Yes, he's up for sale for the appropriate amount of money. And I would suspect there'll be other horses up for sale. We have now 3 horses heading to the Ohio sale on February the 15th. Myself and this bar is headed there. So is Melanie's Michaela, and so is Bravura. She's in to go Wednesday. I wouldn't be too excited. That's probably just going to be a nice flat line. There's nothing wrong with her. She's just not doing enough right. I trained her yesterday in 2-1. What day was I there? Today's Saturday. No, Thursday morning at Northfield Park. I trained her in 2-1. She was okay. She'll make somebody a nice little racehorse. There's no lameness issues or anything like that. She's just a horse. And then Sister Solange impressed me. 2-3, last half 57 and a bit. I thought she looked amazing. Now, this track is fantastic, but it is a little deep sometimes. There's no complaints. They don't have to go fast out here. But when you see, Harry said, I've been in 212 2 or 3 times, and then you go over to Northfield, go a mile in 2-3, come out 57, and I never even spoke to her. Might have growled at her a little bit, but, just to see her work so good. One is a testament to how hard they work on this track, which is good. The staff, the track is fantastic. But it's not a lightning fast track because it's not hard. Deep most of the time. Which is the opposite of what we had them shod for. So they work doubly hard because they are shod for a hard track. Those flip-flops are great for a hard track, but to get through this deeper stuff with flip-flops on, it's rather taxing. So I guess in a good way, it's a little added work, a little added cardio, I suppose, for some of the horses, and that was on display with Sister Solange's training mile on Thursday morning. I suspect they'll school her next week when I'm gone away. Jason and Eric, and both Jasons and Eric can go with the horses, and they can school the few that I trained the other day. And that leads into, obviously, a great work ethic with the guys in Ohio, too, how everything is working out, both with their caretakers and the trainers. Very, very lucky. Well, always lucky to have Jason. I don't tell him enough either. We went to dinner the other day, him and I and Jason McGinnis rode with me, and, I made it. It's hard. Jason McGinnis is the type of guy, I'll just give you a little insight. Jason likes the boards clean, all the harnesses are hung properly, everything done right, and you can do that with 20, 25 horses. You can't do it with 65. So Jason's left in a very uncomfortable place where, yes, I'm there most of the time, also or part-time, also to make sure everything runs smooth. My phone's always on. I have constant communication with Jason Merriman, Jason McGinnis, and that works very well. But that added stress of literally knowing that right now I'm in charge of all of these horses, I can do it. But it's taxing for Jason for very different reasons. And what makes him a fantastic trainer is his meticulous, almost surgical manner in which he runs his barn, and I love it. I can't do it. I'm not that guy. But what he does is he plays a big role for us in Ohio. And, I talked to him a little bit about it last Wednesday when we went to lunch. I told him, I said, you're not going to be in charge of 65 horses. Eventually, I'll play an even bigger role, I suspect, in Ohio if we have horses over there again next year. The dynamic of the stable will change a little bit in the sense that I'm happy with what we have here. But my biggest problem is James McDonald always going to come out? If I'm James, I'm definitely not here today. So I might joke about James and whatnot. If I'm James McDonald, I am not at this training center jogging horses today when it's -20. guaranteed. I'm Anthony McDonald. I own the stable, and I didn't go jog today. So that just goes to show the dedication of James and the leadership of him also. But I can't expect that kid to do this all the time, to be the guy that's here all the time. And Danny's a great guy, Mario, all these guys work hard. But how is that going to look moving forward? So there's always that constant flux in the stable.ca. Right now, most of our babies are in Ohio for a very good reason. I didn't know how this track would be this year. Very happy with the way this track is. Not quite fan friendly. As I said, there's no point in showing you a video of it. You can't see the horses train the entire way around the track. There's a giant hill in the middle of this 5/8 mile track. So you can see 2/3 at best of the training, but you can't see the entire training mile, which is somewhat problematic. Where, especially in Northfield, one, we have one of the best half-mile tracks in the universe, and two, a very capable and flexible video staff that will do our videos whenever we want them to. So I'm left trying to figure out what is perfect for us moving forward. To have James McDonald here is a huge feather in our cap, but will that last forever? And if it doesn't, James comes to me and says, I'm going to be there a little less next year, like more not, maybe part-time. What does that look like for the stable? How does that look like? What does that look like for us? So that is what I'm left thinking about in February as we head into springtime. I'm left looking at next season also. So these are the things that are rattling around in my head. So again, down a new path, a new rabbit hole. So let's get back to the beaten path. The beaten path is what took place this week, what's taking place today, tomorrow, next week for the stable.ca, what's going on. When it comes to the racehorses, I wish I could tell you like it was in November. Oh, everything's winning, it's great. They're on their way back. Resolute Bay lands back at the barn today. Locatelli back at the barn today. White Tiger back at the barn today. As I said, looks like Money is still racing right now and looks sharp as he ever did. James was happy with him. We do have some horses to go, as we always do. I think both Eldis Patrick and now after Macho Martini's trip last night, we're left saying, where do we go with these guys from here on in? Now, Macho Martini, I'm not going to send him back to the Meadows. So if he can't do in the class he's doing, you'll probably see Macho Martini end up on gate within the next 2 weeks. And I know probably Beth and a couple of our partners on Macho Martini would rather not, but at the end of the day, we can only do what we can do. And if we can't find classes where these horses can do, and he should do, he was a favorite last night. If we can't find classes where they can do full time, then somebody else is going to be left doing that. This isn't a situation where, okay, can't do here, well, we'll send him over there to race in the bottom class over there. We're going to pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars to ship him somewhere where he may not be able to do either. So I'm left trying to decide what we're going to do with them. Eldis Patrick's an even worse situation because he's been horrid since we brought him back into the field. 1 win and 9 no checks is not a way to start the 2023 season for sure in any way, shape, or form. So I'm left trying to discern what we're going to do with Eldis Patrick. As I said, probably just put him in a 10 or 12 claimer at the Meadows. Off his last 2 lines, he couldn't even do there, but I really don't know what happened last night. I know he showed a little bit of blood, but I suspect a lot of horses did last night, and that it didn't feel to me like it was all related to pulmonary issues, I suppose, last night. But we'll see. I'm left with a lot more questions than answers with Eldis Patrick, and I suspect there's going to have to be closure with him at some point down the road. But nevertheless, it is what it is today. We're going to try and talk about the positive notes that are going on with the stable and less focus on the negative ones. So we have stake payments, at least the schedule set in place for February. Happy to see that. Thank you everybody for sending in payments for those two. I appreciate it. Next we have how the horses are training down. I'll touch on that a little bit here in a minute with the babies. And where the aged horses are going to fit. Obviously, we just purchased JK Victory. We put him into the staking regimen also. There are some stakes for him. The 4-year-old stakes, the Charles Juravinski stake is at Flamborough. And then we have, I guess, the graduate. I mean, we did buy him to be that type of horse. Has he proven he is yet? No, but he hasn't proven he's not either. He does have a mark of 48 and 300,000 made. We should at least stake him appropriately. I tried to keep him into all the 4-year-old races, and I believe we kept him paid into the Canadian Pacing Derby here also. So that stake payment will be updated for the particular ownership of JK Victory also. Locatelli, as I said, I believe I have his stake starting in August here in the Maple Leaf Trot, whereas looks like money will start in June here for the Graduate and then move to New Jersey a little bit. What other aged horses do we have? I know that I had a great conversation. It's going to continue tonight with Daryl about No Free Lunch, and he said, this is an important thing. He said to me, he won in 51 and looked great when other horses that were in the top class were not doing that in the winter of last year. So I would caution everybody about comparing speed. Speed means nothing, less than nothing. It looks nice. It's nice to know your horse went that fast, but you can't quantify that and say, okay, well, here's how fast he went, and then a year ago with the same temperatures, this doesn't work that way. Can't do it. At the end of the day, No Free Lunch is a pretty good preferred pacer. Not an open pacer. I don't think he is yet. And given his minor injuries we're dealing with now, are those a precursor to something to come, or are those things that were caught that we can work on and as far as injuries go, drag them back towards neutral ground or to where they're not bothering him at all? Or are they going to be something we have to manage in the future? I would have to say the more conservative answer would be they are something we have to manage in the future. They're not bad, they're not horrible, but they are issues that need management. So you're talking about a horse like No Free Lunch. There's no doubt that horse is going to pace 49, right? To think he's going to pace faster is fine. He may not. But he's not that type of horse. If you ask James, anybody that's ever driven or could drive No Free Lunch, I would suspect they will tell you nice, really nice, handy little horse, but also the type of horse that you could overdrive, over race, and probably get beat up pretty easily. He's not quite an open pacer. And people may not agree with me and may not like that I said that, but I'm just trying to be honest with everybody. If I owned No Free Lunch, he would never, ever see an added money event in his entire life, because he's the type of horse where, you can race him on a Saturday night. There's going to be times when No Free Lunch gets in tough or draws the outside, and you got to race him accordingly. And he'll allow you to do that because he's got wicked speed on the end of the mile. And there's times where he's going to be 4 to 5, and you're going to be able to quarter pull him to the front and beat up on them and win with the earplugs in, much like James did 4 or 5 starts ago. But the management of him on and off the track is going to be paramount. He is also the type of horse that you can hurt pretty easy. You could come first over with him or race him over his head 3 or 4 starts and hurt him. The easiest way to manage a horse with any sort of minor injuries is to race them well below 100% necessity. So if you say, your horse is capable of X, well, if you can race that horse where he's doing well at 85 or 90% of X, you'll keep him sound forever. But if you got to keep digging in and go to 100, 101, 105% and continue to ask them to do more than they should or could be able to do, I can almost assure you that they will come up with some sort of an injury, either minor or major, at some point. So the management of No Free Lunch, I know everybody, and Daryl has a point. I see, if you look at them on your paper, you're like, oh man, and they're the breeders of this horse. They love the horse. And nobody wants to hurt him. Nobody wants to do bad by No Free Lunch. But when you have a horse that's so close to being so good, let's give him a chance. And I have no problem with that, but I do have a little problem with that, in the sense that I believe if you continue to take those chances with him, you're putting risk into his racing also, especially now that we know there's some lingering issues there. Nothing that you probably wouldn't find in 70% of the open ranks. These are not abnormal or weird or even concerning injuries, but they do require management and to ask him to continually do more and more and more. Eventually you're going to find minor injuries turn into a little bit more major injuries. So if we can always aim to race our horses at 85 or 90% of that X I was telling you about, then I think we'll have a much more productive stable, and we'll be able to manage and keep our horses sound and healthy a lot longer. So that's where I'm at with No Free Lunch in particular, and I know Daryl's going to take tonight to try and sway me from that, and we can enter him in a race like the Canadian Pacing Derby, but I would caution everybody, and again, The reason I can speak to you so candidly and bluntly is because I treat everybody's horses and everybody's money like it's mine. And I would never race no free lunch, not one time, in an added money event in North America. There's more than enough money for him to race right here in Ontario. He never has to leave this barn or that track again the way he's racing, and he'll make six figures every year. And it's not about, like I said, it's not necessarily about the money. Everything in life is a little bit about money, but when it comes to horse racing, that money's attributed to the horse racing well. So we can look at it like this. The more time he spends here and the better we manage him, the more pictures you're going to get in the winner's circle, right? The more fun you're going to have sitting home watching, watching that horse race with your significant other or your dog or your cat. And that's really what it boils down to, is we're trying to do the best every single week we go on the track. And as we continue down this path where got to get rid of the ones that are kind of holding us back, you're going to see the stable come forward. And that's a little upsetting to me today. I'm one of you, because Eldis Patrick is falling into that category and has for quite a while. And my list of excuses has come to an end with him. So we either find a class to race him in, or unfortunately he too will have to go by the wayside. So I finally got to the babies this week. I know the middle of this video is a bit slow and I get wandering all over the place, and I apologize, but I do, when I start these videos, I want to talk about everything that took place this week, how I feel, what I want to see happen, what I didn't see happen this week. And given the fact, who's that? Oh, watch your mouth. Given the fact that looks good, that horse. Given the fact that we don't have any of our power outside of Looks Like Money and Cintra really racing right now, and they're on their way back. Or the void, that void we talked about, that hopefully JK Victory and Hunted House will somewhat fill up. Help is on the way, so to speak, because Resolute Bay, Locatelli, White Tiger are all coming back in today. And I know I had a great conversation with Bob the other day, and he said, well, are you going to pay Resolute Bay and Renegade Gypsy, who's also back, by the way, are you going to pay them into the New Holland series? I said, absolutely not. I'm not racing Resolute Bay against Locatelli. And his answer was intriguing. And I may not have given you the credence I looked at our message after, and it wasn't, emojis don't cut it. So my concern is, yes, what happens if there is no racing for these horses during this New Holland series? There should be. Doesn't mean there will be. So I guess my concern is, what if we don't have a place to race them? So we may have to pay Resolute Bay and Renegade Gypsy into this New Holland series, which I don't think they belong in. I don't think there's a place where Renegade Gypsy and Resolute Bay should have to race against Locatelli. You know, we've done it because they've had to combine classes. I get that. But that's the race office doing it, not us. Now we'd be doing it. We would be entering our horses in knowingly in with one another, and I just don't think that should happen. But having said that, the new rule number one, I guess, when we're talking about trotters, is keep them trotting, but keep them racing. We need a place to race. So I don't want to bring Resolute Bay back to move him to the Meadows. That would be not good for the horse and not good for us. I don't want to have to send them to the Meadowlands or Yonkers or Miami Valley to get racing. We live in Ontario. These horses were bought for Ontario. They have been in Ontario, and they should be having races in Ontario. It's not to say that they will. So what we are going to do now is do our best to put them in where they belong. And I believe, although I don't agree with the premise of paying Resolute Bay and Renegade Gypsy into the New Holland series, I do agree that there is a chance they won't get raced otherwise. And as much as that annoys me to say it, it's true. So I have no interest in racing them in that series, but at the same time, if we're going to have them ready and we need a place to race them and there's no other place to race them, then it looks like that's exactly what we may have to do to, theoretically, as I said before, start their 4-year-old campaign. So how did the babies do this week? The race horses were okay. You guys saw who raced. Some are good, some are bad, some are going to be moved on, some are going to be kept and cultivated, and some we're watching. Like Looks Like Money every week to see if they're tired yet. So what about our other horses? How'd the babies go this week? I'm at 34 minutes. I apologize. Rambling. I'm guilty of it today. But I will run through all the horses that really caught my eye this week. I'll do it again in the 2-year-old video, but I do want to bring it to you also because there are some people that just want to hear the highlights, so to speak. Didn't do a very good job of that today. Hallie in the Clouds was tremendous. Drebin was tremendous also this week. Insider Trading was good. Lonely Lakewood was great. Seasons of Love is really, really coming forward. Now that it's February, the 1st of February, maybe I'll mark all the horses. Maybe that's something I should do the start of every month. Give everybody a grade. I like that idea. That's what I'm going to do today. Also this week, Time is on my side. Got a cut on his shoulder. He needed a couple of stitches. It's nothing. It was just on the flesh. He's fine in the stall now. He jogged yesterday, jogged today, but we did not train him this week. Mick Paisley, I thought, was good. A horse that could benefit with no flip-flops on. She did make a break right at the wire on me, but she was really pacing when she did it. Her and Winter Bells were in top stride going under the wire, and I just brushed the whip over her tail and she run. So it was a little bit my fault, but she shouldn't have made a break there either. Watch Your Mouth, similar to this. I think it's a flip-flop issue, but they're not going anywhere right now. In International Spy, somebody said, is he no good, that horse? I know you guys hear me talk about it. If I don't give you a glowing report, or you don't see the horse look flashy on the track, you're like, guess he's no good. You have no idea. Neither do I. If I don't know, there's no possible way you could know. So when it comes to the horses, just because International Spy hasn't sprung up like a daisy and looked amazing on the track like everybody else, he does have the most beautiful gait on the track. We'll probably take the hobbles back off him at some point. Could he be slipping? Could he be interfering? Could he just be a big dumb stud that's taking his time? It could be any of the above. But I can tell you what he's not is a bad horse. He's a nice horse. Where are we at now? Easy on the Turns, I guess. I heard just mauled them here on Wednesday. Looked very, very good. Was it Wednesday? Must have been Wednesday. No, we went with them Tuesday, didn't we? Yeah. I know when they said that Easy on the Turns, Amy would have went with it the other day. Yeah, yeah, she put a real good beating on us. George of the Jungle had a little temperature, so he didn't train this week. Freddie, my father, is up right now. I forgot to tell him. James Arthur looked amazing. He'll see him train when we come back from our trip next week. Flash Fly continues to look good. Also, in Ohio, a lot of really nice horses. Affection is a beast. She looked great again this week. Oh, snap, you look good. Vaquero Blue Chip, you know, I talked so highly of him. Somebody messaged me, said, Anthony, you paid, I don't want to say quite a few, but some horses into the Breeders' Crown. Would you consider paying this guy in, considering he's got a world champion brother and he trained so good for you this week? Yeah, I think I would. Yep, you're right. So thank you, Ray. Vaquero Blue Chip is paid in. Made the first payment of the Breeders' Crown. This horse got a ton of speed. I thought, Father Patrick, is he moody? We might have to geld him. You know, I don't know about this guy. And then I trained him first start with the hobbles 2 weeks ago. He was great. And I went with him on Wednesday. The horse was amazing again. So, yes, he is paid in. Lover's Play was good again. Venice Blue Chip is very good. Very, very nice. I had a great conversation with Tom Grossman about her the other day. And, you know, he had asked me point blank a number of times, do you like her? And then he saw Amy's list. Amy and I both had her on our top 10 list, my projections list, and Amy's top 10 list for right now. And the horse just looks amazing. There's no two ways about it. Paycheck Princess, I end up taking her out of the Breeders' Crown because she made that break the other day. It's a little silly to be making decisions like that, but I'm trying to look at all the information I have. I think she is a fast filly. I think she's got a very bright future. And I guess she's got two more training trips before we really have to call it. But I want to see her do more. My concern is it the flip-flops? I don't want to just take the flip-flops off her, put full swedges on her, and then, you know, have her get a little sore on her knees around June. I'm doing my best to ensure these horses stay good the entire year. And it's impossible to do because every horse is different. It might work on Paycheck Princess and it won't work on Arson. You know, we are doing our best to keep the horses sounder, sharper, fresher, longer. And we're going to see how this whole trial with the flip-flops plays out. But as of right now, Paycheck Princess looks very fast. But what can she do? I don't know. We're going to see. Really Don't Care has looked amazing. Jason loves this filly. It's impossible not to. This is the Chapter 7 filly out of the sister to When Doves Cry. very well bred, very, very nice filly. I like everything about Really Don't Care. Cowboy by the Sea continues to be good. Pickpocket, everybody in this set. Royal Emeralds, incredibly fast filly and very strong. But is that going to dissipate? And if it does, is her overall output and speed going to also? I don't think so. You know who she reminds me of? A little bit Crantini. She doesn't throw her head, but she's rude. She can be very, very rude. But when she's dialed in and focused, she is fast. And was very, very good the other day. And nobody in this set, and this is the biggest two horses, Affection, who was horrible to break, has turned into one of our best performers training week in and week out in Ohio. And hot on her heels, probably around that same area, I'm Fancy Like, who also was a complete troll to break and now has just turned into a monster. I was on the outside with Royal Emerald, so I'm trying to let her trot forward, but I don't want to let her overextend herself. Cowboy by the Seas on the front. Jason's kind of sitting in, and then a blur just went screaming past us down the lane, and it was I'm Fancy Like. She jumped on Cowboy by the Sea and drove away from him. He didn't even know she was there for a blink of an eye, and she was gone by 3 lengths. She looked very, very good the other day. So again, this is 2 full sets of horses that are impressive so far to us. That's 3 sets. I'm sorry, 3 sets. No, this is the 3rd set. Arson jogged. He was very good. Prince Charmer has looked great also since coming back. I know a lot of people out there. Somebody sent me a message, said, you're kind of hard on us, the people that sold Prince Charmer shares. I said, I don't know why you would have sold them. I told everybody when I went to the sale to buy Prince Charmer, he was one of my top picks. We got him for nothing, which was, even to this day, mind-boggling to me. Then he hits his knee, injures himself, it blows up. I told everybody, don't worry about it. It's far too big to be from him hitting it. He got cast or shied away from something and whacked his knee hard, but it wasn't from interfering training. So we had to give him some time. The vet came in, opened it up, cleaned all that knee out, stitched it up, closed it up. We gave him another week. The horse has been amazing. And he was great again the other day training. Horse looks very, very good. So yes, moral of the story, relax. These are babies. Southwind Digit was good again. Goldbug Hanover, another green shoe that looks amazing that we now have the hobbles off of. Insider Trading, Flash Fly, and now Goldbug Hanover. Took them off her the other day. Brody just sat in the middle. In fact, I had mounts for... Was it? No, this was a different set. I had somebody on the front end and shied away from a tractor or something. It didn't, not like the other set the other day, but just kind of stopped up a bit. And Brody literally trotted right out, just missed my wheel, trotted right out in the middle, and Goldbug Hanover never lifted her head. Her head is right here. I'm like, whoa. And I look over, he popped out of the 2-hole in between whoever was on the outside of me and me, and he just gone. And she looked amazing. Very, very impressed with Goldbug Hanover. Southwind Digit, I said, was good. No Chance in Hill was good again. So, you know what? I really like the fact that Brody came to me the other day and said, what am I doing wrong on the track? How can I do this better? I like to see when people want to do better, right? They want to understand the game better. And this is a kid that probably wants to be a driver and a trainer on his own someday. And I was impressed that he came and asked me that. No Chance in Hill was great from the other day. I said, Brody, don't give him an inch. Put him on a helmet and leave him there right through the wire. Do that for a couple of weeks, and then you can start moving him. Let him get his feet underneath him. He was great the other day. Mounts for All was extremely good too. Come a long way. Both those horses that were like incredibly lazy at the start, Mounts for All, Affection, I'm Fancy Like, have now come to life and can do their work. So very happy with that. Probably one of the most impressive horses the last 2 weeks in Ohio has been Ready for Landing. He looked great the other day. Widespread Panic, good. Cherahola, her work continues to get better and better and better. Victory, Blue Chip, Militant, Born to Dance, that whole set stayed at it, did their work, paced and trotted hard right through the wire. Memory and Imagination has his moments. He was acting up a little bit the other day, but still in the mile training, he did his work well. Pull the Shoes, we made a slight little change with her. I can see what she's doing. I think the next time we go with Pull the Shoes, totally different horse. Gypsy Hill is probably one of our top prospects in Ohio right now. He was great again. Antilles Hanover's doing his work well. Irresistible Sun, and then Mel gives one every week. Joey, I think Joey keeps telling me how much he loves him because he wants to continue to go with him, and I don't mind. Go ahead with him. Yeah, the horse just does his work all the time. Always has his head over the gate, looking at everybody. Always has his ears up, but always attentive and sharp. Mel Gibson's one of those horses that we're going to talk about him all winter. You guys might not pay attention, but come June, July, and we start to qualify and race, I think you're going to see what we're talking about with Mel Gibson. And then the 6 at Green Tea, another green shoe that's really come to life of late. Just jogged in his last 4 training sets, just mauled them. Sedona Hill was good again. Sunset Acres Girl, I don't know how good the Michigan horses are. Maybe it's a bumper crop and there's a bunch of really nice ones. This is a really nice filly, and she's going to do us a lot of good in Michigan. Michigan is a very regional staking jurisdiction right now. And what I mean by that is it's kind of watered down breeding. You know, you get these out of a grandson of Cadabra from a granddaughter of Baltic Speed or some, who knows. But when push comes to shove, it doesn't matter who they're by and who they're out of. When they're training down, they do it well or they don't. And Sunset Acres Girl, factoring in that she doesn't have to go to Pennsylvania or Ohio or Ontario, New York, New Jersey, any of those places. She just has to go over to Michigan and race in the fairs and race in the stakes over there for a horse that's doing well against our staked horses in deep jurisdictions. Says a lot about this filly, and she looks very, very good as we head into springtime. Blanton's Blue, I trained him faster than anybody's been the other day, but he's still a little rickety. He would make a great gelding. At some point, he's going to have to start, carrying the water. He's going to have to start doing his work a little more efficiently and look to do it rather than look to get out. And right now, he's still in that little, cranky stud phase where he's like, whatever. And then you make him do it. And he's like, all right, relax, I'll do it. I need him to go out and put in a full effort every day, and hopefully we don't have to castrate him to see it, but he did do it the other day. Purple People Eater was great also. Did you know? Looked good on the track. Now, when we went to train her, all she did was canter, but Daryl went with her the next day and went the right way of the track, and she picked it up and looked pretty good, so I was happy to see that. Melanie's Michaela is in the sale, as is myself in this bar. She trained 245. You're out there watching this video, and you want an overnight 2-year-old filly. You're going to have to pay her in now. The 15th is the deadline. You have to pay. Oh, no, it's March for the 2-year-olds. So the fairs and the Stallion Series and whatever the hell else you want to pay her into. She's sound. She does her work. She paces. She's been in 243, 244, something like that. Electric Line, we found the other day a little sesamoiditis behind. What that means is when you look at the sesamoid bone under x-ray, you can see weaknesses that aren't there in other horses. And that's generally what the veterinarians will call sesamoiditis. Now, with a 2-year-old, if you see little lines in there and you push forward, sometimes they can separate and fracture. So what you need to do is work on that. Know that it's there. We're going to change his shoeing accordingly to help him. Blister him, shock him, keep him done up with bandages. Just continue to work on him. But most importantly, we're going to back off for a couple of weeks. I trained him the other day in 237 with a bow in his neck, and he beat everybody and looked good. But the second I inched him out and really let him loose after the mile, he made a break. Because that's acute pain. When you really let them really rock and their first step forward is ouch, they're going to make a break. No lameness seen. A little bit over on the left shaft, but no lameness seen. But there is some sesamoiditis there. So we're going to blister it, going to shock it, keep bandages on him, put egg bars on him behind. Just help him. Just help him out. The horse looked great training the other day. Levesque in Action continues to get better. Sweeney also continues to get better and look good. 3rd and 6th was good. And Alibaba and AC Swan have now both been in 250 and 252 respectively, and both looked very good on the track. I'm pretty sure that was AC Swan's first ever training mile. She looked very good. And Alibaba, both of them had the hobbles on, both did their work well, and both got the job done. They both stayed at it, went a full mile, and looked very good doing it. So, 47 minutes on a marathon of babbling. I apologize for the middle part of the video. There's just so much I want to convey and talk to you guys some weeks about, and it gets lost in the translation sometimes. So hopefully I conveyed it mostly good to you. It's been a good week. Not the best week we've ever had, but certainly not the worst. Looks like money. All of our best horses are on their way back now. We bought some killers, hopefully, in Hunted House and JK Victory. They're going to make their starts next week and the week after, respectively, and see if we can get them rolling also. So, with that, I'm going to let you guys go here from First Line Training Center. Still a lot of videos to do, a lot to do. I'm going to swim How the Hill right now. How the hell right now. Ready? Hey! Are you ready?
Right now.
All right, let's go.
I like the lineup. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's generally a lineup when it's minus 20. Going to swim How the Hell right now. I told them I'd help. So, I will talk to you all very soon. Have a great day, great weekend. Take care.